Alrighty, there we go. Hello, 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 everyone. Incredible greetings. I'm trying to make sure that the audience is set up correctly, which we have to wait for it. Now, we aren't going to be on long, but I did want to let you guys know that the Essentials of Silhouette Studio live refresher session 1 starts now. If you are enrolled in the program already, head on over to your dashboard so that you can join us on the Zoom. If you are not enrolled already and you are interested in enrolling in Essential Silhouette Studio, then you can head on over to the website shop.hsink365.com and enroll in the training. This is the third part of this training where we're teaching the basics and foundational functions of the tool, like basic and foundational use of the tools and functions within Silhouette Studio, using it as a design software. But of course, that aids itself in you utilizing the machine also. But if you do not own a Silhouette machine, that is perfectly fine because we teach Silhouette Studio as a designing software or something that you can print your designs from and be able to easily size them and things of that nature. So today, we are live over on Zoom for our first official session for Q3. This is going to be an overview and review, like just kind of going through the layout and everything of Silhouette Studio. It is the first class that we have every single, time we've done this. The first one is always just kind of a basic like overview of things and just kind of identifying where things are to make it a little bit easier to follow along once we get started. Okay. So that's what we're gonna do. So I'm gonna let you guys in, basically on Facebook and YouTube. I'm gonna let you guys in on a little bit, so you just kind of see. You're not gonna get to see the entire session, but you will just kind of get a feel. If you've never attended one of my classes, just get a kind of a feel of how our classes go. To see if I might be a good instructor for you, someone that you can learn from as you're trying to elevate your creative and your designing skills. All right. Okay. Now let me get my official recording going. All righty. So, hello, 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 everyone. Incredible greetings. I am Shakia, the professor, and this is Essentials of Silhouette Studios. Um, whoa, Q3. There we go. I have to mute that. Q3 review. This is a part of our full-on training for Silhouette Studio so that you can learn how to navigate the software and use it as a standalone graphic designing software. We have taught Silhouette Studio. This is now twice already. So we originally started this back in 2022, and we had a 30-day training, which is still available to you. We highly recommend that you go through that training because that is where the meat and potatoes are. So the refresher gives you some meat, and then like this would be kind of the potatoes. But that first one, gives you the meat and potatoes. It gives you the dessert. It gives you everything, because it's broken down in a way where every single like tool or set of tools, they had their own day. Okay. So we recommend that you do go back to this one. We always leave this up so that you can see the day. The calendar is also on there so that you can see which day was, which lesson. And then when it comes to the refresher round, so the first refresher round, we did it in Q1 of 2024. And we did that for 13 weeks. It was kind of the same setup, not in the same order, but some of the lessons were put together. So you did not get as much breakdown in the refresher, because it was meant to be just a refresher of the 30 days. The 30 days will always be your ultimate video reference guide. Okay. And now we're in the review stages of this, but you're still going to learn a lot. We're going to reference some of the previous lessons so that you can kind of make that connection. It's still going to be done live, where if you get stuck, you'll be able to share your screen, ask questions along the way. We'll have a full-on review and kind of going through design. So everything is just a little bit more compact now, because we've gone through this, 3 times already. And then next year, we may end up doing another full on, not quite like the 30 days, but a more broken down, setup. But those videos are always there for you. What we're going to do tonight, we are going to go over Silhouette Studio as a whole. So I'm just going to kind of show some things just that you understand the system, kind of how I teach, knowing where things are, making sure that your screen looks like mine, why you may not have some of the things. So we're going to do that so that you are familiar with the system. And it might make it a little bit easier for you to find things if, it's harder for you to follow my mouse. As long as I'm pointing them out when I just mentioned something, let's say go to the modify tool, I'm going to go through that and just kind of show you where everything is. So if I say modify tool, and if I, for you move too fast and you didn't see exactly where I clicked at, if you, just think back to this video, okay, what did she say the modify tool was or where it was at, then it'll be easy for you to find it. Okay. But for those of you who are watching, because this is the first time that we are streaming the first part of it on our Facebook and YouTube platforms, if you are interested in enrolling in it, head on over to our website. You can enroll today and get access to the first 30 days. You can get access to the full 30 days, the refresher, and the review. For just $20, it'll actually be a little over $26, because you'll do from the buy now, pay later. But you'll pay that amount today. So if you want to, join, you want to learn, you will go go to buy now, pay later. If you're going to use Sezzle, Shop Pay, buy now, pay later, you'll go on there, you'll pay $26 today, and then they'll set up your payment plans for everything else. But you will have full access to it. Also, our student union. Or you can do a one-time payment. This price does change starting Saturday. So Friday is the last day to take advantage of this at this price. So this is for Essentials of Silhouette Studio, which is our ultimate video reference guide to teach you how to use everything within Silhouette Studio and use it as a graphic designing software so that you can create everything from your own SVGs, invitations, t-shirts, tumblers. If you want it just to size so that you can print things out that you designed in Canva, the possibilities are absolutely endless. Okay. If you are watching from YouTube and Facebook, I will not be able to answer any of you guys' questions. I'm just allowing you guys to see. So I will only be answering questions from those who are actually in the class. Okay. You have to be on the Zoom. So even if you are enrolled in Essentials of Silhouette Studio, I cannot tell who's enrolled and who's not. If you're commenting from YouTube or Facebook, you must join in on the Zoom session if you have a question as I'm going through this, okay? Once you enroll and you come over to the your dashboard, right? You're going to find the class, you're going to hit start, or you're going to hit resume, and you're going to click where it says EOS Review Sessions 2024. And that's where you're going to find the link to go ahead and join us over on the Zoom. For those who are watching, you're on the Zoom right now, when you clicked on it, it should have had you register. Now, it may have asked you to select all of them, select one, but if you check your email, there should be an email that has like a link to it for you to join the Zoom. It will be the same link every single time. So you just have to click on that again. It also gives you an option where you can put it on your calendar. So your, like any digital calendar you have, so whether you have Samsung or Apple, your calendar like Outlook, whatever, on your computer, you can put it on there and it will send you reminders that, hey, we have a class coming up based off of what's there. If we ever have to change a class, check your emails. It'll also send you an email that a change has been made to one of the classes, okay? All of your downloads that we will use for this, it is all located here. Your 30 days, this is the downloads. All 30 days of playbacks is here. So the original 30-day training, all the playbacks can be found in this section, okay? The 2024 live stream playbacks will be in this section. So the live stream ones. Now, for the refresher one, many of them have the broken down videos here as well, and they are segmented out. Okay, so you can always go here for like to get to specific, to make it easier to get to certain sections instead of going through the full live stream. So this is where everything is. Just kind of go through it, you click, and then you have to click on the item that you want. It won't go automatically. As you finish something, finish watching it, hit complete and continue so that you know that you have finished watching that video. You can watch them all from here and then just hit complete and continue for the refresher, excuse me, and for the review. The reviews will also be broken down like this as well. We're slowly working to try and get all of the original 30 days inputted this way, but that was a lot. It was 30 days straight. So yeah, 2 years later, we're still, because we have other classes and stuff, so we still haven't, but we're going to get them there. All right. So that is just how this is set up. I will always let you guys know which download we are working from. So as we're going through certain things, I will reference if it is in the original 30 days downloads or if it's in the downloads for, I'm going to actually change this to Q1 or in Q3 refreshers. So there are downloads that were in there. And if I have any new ones for the Q3 review, you're going to see that. So all the downloads go here. So Q3 downloads will be right above that because that's the first one that we're, well, that's the current one. So that's how it's going. It'll go Q3 review downloads. You have Q1 refresher session downloads, and then you have the downloads from the original 30 days. And sometimes we do go back to that one. Okay. So that is how our dashboard is set up for you. If you have not enrolled in our classes, this just gives you an idea of, how we set things up and how you can locate the information. Any questions on accessing the classes, downloads, playbacks? If you guys have tried to go through it and you didn't see something, this is for everyone that's on the Zoom. You guys can go ahead and, well, actually, let me reset. Actually, you know what? We'll do it in this one. So if anyone has any questions, I forgot to kind of run you guys through that. We did the consent part, but I need for everyone on the Zoom session to find the react and raise your hand. So I want to make sure that you know where that feature is. So if I can get everybody to raise your hand. Just want to make sure that you guys know where it's at. Okay. And then lower it, because once you're done with your question, you will lower it. So everyone just lower your hand. And if you have a question right now, you can leave your hand up or, so I'll wait till everyone lowers their hand, or actually I'll lower everyone's hand. Now, if you have a question, go ahead, raise your hand. You can always use the chat as well. So someone says looking for it. If you are if you're watching it from a phone, I think you have to either tap or swipe, and you're looking for the words react, like a section that says react, and that's where it is. For anyone on their phone, on the computer, it is actually still under reactions, and you'll see raise hand. If you can't find the raise hand, drop your question in the chat and then I will call on you, or let me know. So someone right now is just doing clapping and not raising your hand. I can't say, it doesn't tell me who that is, but someone just did clap instead of raise your hand. So it's not the first one. It'll actually say raise hand. But if you can't, just put in the chat, I have a question, and one of our moderators will let me know that someone in the chat does have a question, and I'll just call on you and have you unmute, okay? All right, so, okay, there you go. You found it, Dorothy. Awesome, awesome. So no questions, any questions as it relates to how you access your content on your dashboard? Last call. Okay. So I'm going to do this from the top, as if you've never seen Silhouette Studio, you've never used it, okay? So we're gonna go from the top for this. This is how you download Silhouette Studio, okay? We're going to click, I'm gonna go to Silhouette America. So you have to go to silhouetteamerica.com. It does not matter which system you have, or if you plan to get the paid upgrades such as Designer, Designer Plus, or Business. You have to install the base version first. You have to install the base version first. So you're going to come to silhouetteamerica.com, create a free account, no obligation to buy anything. It's just, just keeps up with you like on their website. You're going to go to software. And then we're going to come down here to where it says Silhouette Studio. Click the down arrow. This has changed. And that's the reason why I'm going over this, because their website has changed since the last time that we did this. So the current version is 4.5.870. This may not work with all computers. Your system may not have enough resources to handle this version. So you're going to have to use a legacy version of the program. If you click right here where it says legacy versions, you're going to see almost every single version they've released in the past couple of years. The most stable version, and the one that you will hear me reference in the original 30 days, and I think in the refresher, I think, or maybe partway through, I kind of went from 4.3 to 4.4, 4.5, because the Cameo 5 was out. And although we're not necessarily teaching this for a machine, a lot of people had the Cameo 5. And there are some things like smart snapping, auto PNG trace that we're going to address that is in version 4.4 to 4.5. Those things are not available in version 4.3.370. But if you're just using it as a design program and you do not have any type of machine, or you have a machine that is a Cameo 4 Plus or earlier, so all the way back to the original, you are able to use 4.3.370. My recommendation is, if you're using Windows, to download the 32-bit version. Even if your system is 64, you want to download the 32-bit version. Of course, Mac only has one. I cannot tell you out of the other ones which one's going to work on your system. Every system is different. You do not have to worry about being on the exact same number as me, because for the most part, it is the same. I'm on one of the current versions that has smart snapping and things of that nature. You may experience like a glitch. I remember it was one time, I think it was like with LaShonda when she was going through it, where under replicate, she was either missing the numbers, the slider, or the arrows. One of those was missing, and that was just a glitch in that version. But for the most part, it will look the same. I'm not going to say that depending on which version you're using, something may not look a little bit different. Like I said, because of glitches, but for the most part, they all work the same. And if you see something that you do not have on your screen, do not hesitate to ask. It might be a version issue, or it might be in a update, like an addition. I'm sorry, it might be an addition or a version, because I have designer edition. I'm sorry, business edition. If you have designer, you're not going to see things that I will have as business edition, things like which we're going to go through, like the multiple undo, stuff like that. So if you see something, like if you don't see something, always ask the question. Okay. All right. So here are your, like I said, here are your legacy versions. And sometimes there are beta versions available as well when they're testing out new updates. Okay. All right. So now that we have that, and if you would like to update, because you can start with the free version, you do not need Designer Plus, or Business to take and to participate during this. Most of the lessons are taught basically from a free version viewpoint. I still have it set to Business Edition, but these will be the same tools and functions that are in Business Edition, how you do it. Tracing doesn't change because you have Business Edition. It doesn't make it better. Cropping doesn't become better. Edit points don't become better with Business Edition. So for the most part, you will be able to follow along. The only time that changes, like if I'm, opening up an SVG, or if I'm, when we're talking about how you save or what files you can open, the version that you're using will determine which features you have. Okay. If you would like to upgrade, you can always go over to our website where it says Business Edition, click on that, or click where it says Designer Edition, upgrade, or Designer Edition to Business. So if you have Designer and you want to go to Business Edition, you don't have to pay the full price. There is a kind of like prorated fee to go from Designer to Business. All right. Any questions on the basic program? And we're going to go through what each version has. So if your questions about like specifically what's included in each one, we're about to go through that. But any other questions? Okay. All right, let's get into Silhouette Studio. Now, I have a few things open over here because I'm preparing for our live tour in Atlanta this weekend. I'm super, super excited for the first stop of our in-person classes. So I'm going to temporarily go down to the free version of Silhouette Studio. So view in standard edition. You're going to see my icons move around. Uh-oh, what the heck just happened? Don't know what just happened. What just happened? What just happened? What just happened? Why did you jump close? I have no idea what just happened. Okay. So you see that the panels have now changed. Whether you are using a Mac or a PC, this should look the same for everyone. The only difference that you might experience is going to be your theme. So that's where we're going to start at before we get into anything. This works best for me. It allows me to kind of see everything. I don't ever recommend that you have it where your design page area is white, because you're not going to be able to tell the difference from where your actual design page is and everything else. So it should be gray. So here is like a quick selector that will filter through the different themes. So whether everything shows up as dark or if it's light. Like for some, they need the darker one to be able to see. When it comes to the colors within your color palettes, whether it's here or here, when you have that darker background around it, it affects how those colors look. Okay, it affects how they look, and they'll appear more saturated, brighter, darker. Like it just changes the way that it looks. That's one of the reasons why I'm not a big fan of looking at the colors with, within the dark theme. So I'm going to switch this to the lighter one. And you'll see how the colors change. So just that one little thing can kind of play tricks on you when it comes to the colors. I personally prefer this one. Now, there is a way for you to go in and customize this even more. If you click on, I call it a little sprocket. I'm old school. They used to call it on the Jetsons. So if you click at, go on the bottom, it says preference panel. So you're going to click on that. That is where we're going to start with this. If you are, I'm sorry. This is very, very important. For this, guys, if you do not have a mouse, I highly recommend that you go onto Amazon or you go to Walmart, Target, Best Buy, whoever, whatever, and get a mouse. You will need a mouse. If you have a laptop, trying to use like a little trackpad on your laptop, it just doesn't fare very well. You will need a laptop, especially when we get to like things like the edit points and things of that nature. You'll need a mouse. Second thing, we highly recommend having a second monitor. You can get a cord to be able to connect it like to your TV and use that as a second monitor. There's ones on Amazon. They're like little portable monitors. If you want to follow along, having your single monitor split screen can make it really difficult to see what I'm doing and then for you to follow along, because now you don't see the full screen for yourself or for me and my screen. So we recommend that you have a second monitor. All right. So if you want to kind of follow along, we're going to set up our preference row. I'm going to go through the things that I recommend when it comes to preferences. So under general, you'll have your language. For me, of course, English. But if you have another language, your first language, then you can change that. And all the verbiage will change to that language. Your default save location, your hard drive or your library. I have mine set to my hard drive, like if I go save, and so that it'll open up for me to save to my computer versus it automatically save it to the library. I don't really use a lot of my library to save things. I don't recommend saving to your library. You want to save, it's going to save to your hard drive, but you don't have to save it on your actual computer's hard drive. You can save it, like once you go save to hard drive, you now can select things like an external hard drive, a USB drive, a cloud drive, internal cloud drive, or a cloud drive that you pay a subscription for, like Google, Dropbox, OneDrive, things of that nature. When you're saving to your library to Silhouette Cloud, you're limited to 5 gigs. Once that fills up, everything that saves to your library is only on that computer. You won't be able to go somewhere else, log in, and then see your files. So you recommend that you regularly export that library and save it somewhere that's not on your computer. So you can download the file and then save that file in a cloud drive, external drive, because if something happens to your computer, you'll be able to retrieve the cloud files, but you will not be able to retrieve anything that was stored locally. And when we go through the library, you'll see what I mean. And I'll be able to show you the identifying markers for if it is cloud or local, or if you got it from the design store and now it's locked, okay? Showing your dimensions means when you select something, seeing the numbers along the side. That is not something that is technically default. So I've had someone that said, hey, I don't see the numbers on the side of mine, and it's because they did not have show dimensions. Oh, I'm sorry, skipping one. Units of measurements. You can flip-flop between them. There are times where I have certain stickers, or I'll have certain blanks and things, and the measurements that are given to me are in millimeters. You can always change this to millimeters, and then you can set your like design page, or if you have to make a box of some sort, the numbers will be in millimeters versus inches. So if you got instructions for something, you can change this between millimeters, centimeters, meters, inches, and even feet. Okay. So you can change your default unit of measurement, and you can flip back and forth. So if you did something and you were on feet and you had it at 2 feet, when you go back to inches, that will now read as 24 inches. So it will automatically adjust. Print resolution. This is another reason. Well, this is also, not say also because I didn't explain it first. When you get that little thing up in the corner and it says it's low resolution, doesn't mean that it's really, really low resolution. I get it all the time, but it's also because I have my print resolution set to 600. So it's looking for a file to be 600 DPI, which that is a story for another day when I'll explain what DPI means. So many crafters have it so confused and so backwards as to what that is. Okay. But this is one of the reasons why you get that warning. Like if you had it set to 300, you wouldn't get it. If you don't want to kind of necessarily see that, you can always go custom and lower it and you won't see that warning. Like put like maybe like 150 or put 100. But that's one of the reasons why you get that warning, because it's looking for me, 600 DPI. So mine always comes up. Under defaults, page orientation, choose it automatically. I actually need to change mine because I'd rather mine be defaulted to portrait. That's normally what I'm working in. Blade type, I only use a manual blade, but I'll just always have mine where it's just automatic, but I only use manual blades. I don't use my auto blades. Default fill, outline only, and then you can choose what the outline color will be. Default text, this is something that was newly added to where if you don't want your default text to be Arial, so maybe you have like a brand font or like your favorite font, you want that to be your default one, you'll come in here and you'll change that to the default. I do believe you have to redo it every time, but you can change that. Always display the mat. Of course, you see mine is not on because you can use it as a standalone graphic design software and you don't always need a mat. Cut to edge of page. If you're using the machine, definitely have it cut to edge of page. Don't have to have registration marks on, and your scroll bar position is on, for me, on the right and not my left-hand side. Panel mode, flexible. So flexible means that if I click on something else, like this one's here, I click on something else, another one pops up. If you have it on single panel, you have to close one out before you, actually, yeah. So single panel only one can be open at a time. And then multiple panels, like they will all just open up. So with this one, as one opens up, this one will go away unless you move it. But if you were on multiple, as you click, they all will just open up. Single, one at a time. Display, we can kind of skip over this. Only thing that's major on, no, can't skip over this one. My current theme is light. So you have light and you have dark, right? Only two options for that. But the background color is the most important. You have light, which is, so we go to light and we're going to hit apply. And then there's a darker one. And then there's one that's white. I do not recommend the one. All right, come on now. We ain't got all day. Why are you taking so long? But while that's going through there, button size, mine is set to large. So if you go all the way up, because if you're like me, you can barely see, but I also have it large so that when I'm teaching classes, you guys can see it. Light is the all white one. I thought it was 3 on here. I don't know. I'll go through it again. So yeah. So no, light is white. Gray is the gray one. And then dark. I thought it was 3 levels to this, but we'll see in a minute. But what was I saying? I forgot now because this went to white. So with your button size, like when I go to business edition, all of my buttons won't fit here. So I'll have like a little arrow and then it'll be a fly out. Now, if I make that smaller, I can fit all of them here, but everything's going to be really, really small. So we're going to come back to preferences. And I'm like, why did you, I just wanted to apply. I didn't hit OK. All right, come on now. Let's go back to preferences. All right, where's my preference window? Okay, there we go. Okay, so gray is one I had, and then of course dark. And that's going to take a little minute. While that's going, any questions so far? Feel free to raise your hand during these moments when my system is taking forever to actually react to something. So there's the darker gray one, and it can make everything super dark. But for me, I am a gray kind of gal and a light theme. Yes, Olive.
I was wondering, I know you're in the traditional, but I'm in business. So when you skip the show print preview, can you tell me what that is for?
I skipped show print preview.
You're printing out and it just gives you that big screen.
Yes.
That's what just came to my head as I asked.
Yes.
That big screen to show you where it is on the paper. And
correct.
Correct. Is that correct?
Yes, that's what that's for. If you don't show it, I guess I did miss that one. No. But yes, you can either have it show print preview or not. I prefer it not to show the print preview because that print preview is pointless. If you need to see a print preview, then use the one from your actual print manager. But the one from Silhouette is pointless. But yes, that is what that's for.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, so. All right, come on. I guess I missed that one. Come on. Don't know why it's taking forever to like switch out things. OMG. Okay, there we go. Now back to my theme. And so here is what she was talking about, show print preview. You can either have that check or not check to show that. So as you can see, mine is unchecked. All right, so importing. I don't have a lot here because I don't have like SVGs. With the other ones, you'll see that changes. But here, your auto PNG trace. When we get to tracing, I'll explain why I do not care for auto PNG trace, but you can turn it on if you want. Tools. Now, this is where you want to come back to this, whether it's on the segmented one or the live stream playback. I will let you know that this starts. Oh, it's not going to show. It's not showing me how many minutes in we are on this segment. But this is one of the big ones as far as how your system operates. If you've ever made a box, if you use your eraser, you use your knife tool, and you were done with it, but it kept drawing a box, it kept drawing a circle, it kept erasing, it kept cutting, this is why. It defaults to continue drawing shapes. Everything in the top section you want to change to choose select, which means once you draw one box, it's going to go to the selection arrow. It's not going to continue to draw boxes or circles or whatever shape it is. It's not going to continue to make lines. Now, if you're doing something and you need to do back-to-back shapes, lines, erasers, you go to the one that you need and you'll go continue drawing. And then once you're done with it, change it back to choose select. This is very important. When drag selecting, that means when you click and drag over something, Do we want it to, this is like saying, do you want it to select it if it just touches it anywhere on it, or if it needs to be enclosed? For drag and select, we want that to be, you just have to touch it, okay? When many shapes are selected, we want a single bounding box. So you're gonna see a lot of smaller gray boxes around different things, but there's only going to be one bounding box with one green dot at the top. When right clicking, the new shape becomes selected. And here, these are all pretty much default. So for show Bezier control handles, that's for your edit points. So we only want it on the selected point, not all points. When using subtract and subtract all, convert thick lines to polygons. So if you put line thickness on it, it's going to end up making that basically a shape. When using eraser and knife, maintain the line thickness. When pasting, new shape or item becomes selected, and then your offset. And I'm missing one. Ooh. See, this is where, oh, wow. Either they automatically took it away or something is missing, because there used to be one that says when using the lasso. So if you ever watch the original ones from the overview from the refresher, it used to say lasso. And for the lasso, we want that to be enclosed. But that's probably why I was having all of those issues with my lasso tool. They've taken that option away. Interesting. Is there anyone on Zoom who is using a version that's not 4. Which one am I on? Well, 4.5.778. If you're using a 4.4, go into your preferences and see if you still see lasso and let me know. Oh, that's why. I forgot. Thank you. That's what it is. I'm not on business edition. I did go down to the regular version. That is true. Thank you, Judy. I was like, wait, why is it not there? But it's not going to show you something that you don't have access to. I went down to the free version or the standard edition. That's why. Okay. Never. I was like, wait a minute, why am I missing that? But that's why, because that is an upgrade. So you should see that from once you have designer edition or above, you should see those options. So you'll change those. Updates we're not worried about. Advanced we're not worried about. Okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit okay on that. And I will eventually come back to this to show the lasso one when you have designer and business. Like, then it will give you the option for that. All right. So we're going to hit okay. We have to wait for that to do its thing. Any questions? Any other additional questions on preferences? You was about to ask me about that one. Yeah, I have to go back to, because that's actually the next thing, like showing what each one like offers or has and like the benefits of the different versions. Come on. Okay. So I'm here in standard. I'm going to go help view in designer, and you're going to now see a lasso tool pop up here. See, there's our lasso tool. Now, if I go to preferences and I go to tools, there we go. Lasso style, we want that to be enclosed. Oh, and see also when using the eyedropper. So now we see those additional tools because they are unlocked at the designer edition level. So designer edition, designer plus, business edition, they have those features. The standard one does not. Same thing when it comes to import. Now you see SVG and not just GSD and DXF. You still have auto PNG trace. Also here, you now see crosshairs. Okay, so that is one that comes. You now see center rotation. So now you're seeing the additional options because I've now switched it to designer. All right, so I'm just going to cancel that. Also, so within designer, you have the lasso, you have the properties dropper. You also now get the rhinestone tool. So with the rhinestone, there's only the standard, which is the one I prefer to use anyway. You're going to see that we do have an additional one in designer plus and business. You have your layers panel. You have nesting. You have all these are pretty much the same, but then you have under image effects, you now have the shadow feature. Under transform, you now have the shear function. Yeah, those are the only, everything else, there's no additional features for tracing. There's nothing additional for modify. Under text, you now have the glyph guide that's right in Silhouette Studio. So you don't have to use your character maps for that. So those are some of the changes. And then the files that you can open. Now, when we go to open and we go to all files, you'll see that before it would be like just version 3, version 2, DXF, files like that. Now you can open up SVGs and PDFs. Okay. And then with Designer Edition Plus, you can open up embroidery files. With Business Edition, you can open up embroidery files, AI files, EPS files, along with the ones in Designer. Okay. So that's that. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to go here. You have the warp tool, but you just have the standard warp and the shapes. Once we go up to Designer Edition Plus or Business, I'm just going to skip to Business. You now get an additional warp tool, which is the cone warp. So if you're going to do tapered tumblers or any type of tapered cups, you want to create a wrap for a vase, not a vase, a flower pot, things of that nature. Anything that does not have the same size for the bottom of it, like circle, and if you measure across the top, if they don't have the same size and they kind of go out or, fan out or fan up and they're not just skinny and straight, you would use the cone warp to, like, you create your design, you apply that so that it curves it, so that when you put it onto this surface, it's straight and it doesn't curve down or curve up depending on how it's made. Okay. So you'll see now you have that option. When it comes to rhinestones, you now have advanced. You also have weed borders and media view, not very important. Nothing else. Actually, you also have font creator, but nothing else really changes with anything else. Okay. Nothing really changes on this side other than you get flexi shapes now. And as far as opening files, like I said, you now have those additional files, all of the embroidery files, and then you have EPS files, Adobe Illustrator files that have now been added. And as far as saving files, you go save as, save to hard drive. You can now save as an SVG, a PNG, a JPEG, a PDF file. Okay, so there are some additional things too, like it showed on there, your center of rotation, your crosshairs, those you get, of course, anything that's in Designer is in Business. So those things have been unlocked with the updated versions. Don't sleep on center of rotation and crosshairs. Those who have been through the first one and the second one, you guys know those tools, they can be annoying, but they are powerful and they come in handy. Don't sleep on those tools. All right. Okay. I saw Olive, you had your hand raised. I don't see it anymore. Did you still have a question? And after Olive's asked her question, we're going to bid adieu to those on Facebook and YouTube. And then we're going to finish our lesson over on Zoom.
You mentioned the DPI. You had yours set at 600. 1200 is, because when you're in Canva and
that's not the same. That's not the same. It's not the same. That, as I said, we will go over DPI. That print resolution for that is not the same as when they tell you with DTF, have it set to 300 DPI. That has nothing to do with that. When we talk about creating designs, I will go over that. But like I said, that one is just what it's looking for to be able to print something, which is why you get that warning. but that's nothing of importance. You can set it to 300.
To have that 1200 is too much?
Yes, I mean, because it's not going to improve your prints. That does not improve. It does not affect how something prints. So yeah, you don't need to put at 1200. This is not one of those cases where more more is better. This is not one of those cases.
Okay, thank you.
All righty. All right, y'all. See you later on Facebook and YouTube.